This is probably the single biggest shard pull video of this free-to-play account's life. Hello everyone, Bront, CatHerder here. We're having some fun talking Raid Shadow Legends, and we are here on the free-to-Paws account, and we are going to be pulling some shards. The portal is blue, and for a young account, 2x Ancients is really the best time to be pulling shards. I mean, yes, 2x Voids is also great, but for an account that is missing epics that I need for faction wars, missing epics I could use for Mikage fusions, this really is the time to pull these shards. It can impact the account so much, it can round out the account. I'm still struggling in several areas, in places where epics are not necessarily going to be the best in slot long term, but are currently better in slot than what I have. For the most part, I'm still using a lot of the core team that I built up, honestly, since the first 2 weeks. I'm still using Alice, I'm still using Ugo, I'm still using Tagore a lot. I use Sun Wukong quite a bit. And then, of course, some of the champions that I pulled along the way have certainly rounded out the account. But this is the time where you get things like your Stag Knights that need to help you, your Deacons that need to help you, your Seekers that could help you, your Duck the Pierced, your Revivers in some of the factions, that sort of stuff. This is where you get those champions. So I am super excited to pull some shards. But there's some news stuff I want to talk about first, about some of the events that are actually going on around the shard pull event. And then we will get to pulling a ton of shards. First of all, we have the Titan event here. And some people are a little upset about the way this Titan event worked. And I get it. And to be fair, I'm a little upset, because Polarium does like to drop these Titan events on you with a little bit of a surprise. We don't know when all of the events are coming, although you can certainly check the Polarium Play calendar if you have Polarium Play to see when some of these events are coming. They will be flagged. And of course, if we are looking at the events here, if you actually look, you can see here this champion training event above my head here has Demon Slayer Titan points. So I could have seen some of these ahead of time. So I knew the champion training was going to have it. You can see here Dungeon Divers is going to have some more points as well, which is unfortunate because I was really kind of hoping to skip that Dungeon Divers. You know, we go in here to the events. And of course, the Champion Chase has got Titan points here as well. And then the Classic Arena one's going to have some Titan points. I don't mind the Classic Arena one. That's easy. So do be paying attention to where these Titan points are coming from. Because even if you're not going to go for the top level reward on these Titan points, you might as well get as many of them as you can while doing other things in the game, because it is free rewards. And honestly, some of these rewards are actually pretty solid. You know, mostly standard stuff here, and you get the 1-star Thallen Soul. Keep on going, and you get the 3-star Soul. Now, keep in mind, this is the full soul. So if you could either sell or have a duplicate copy of the soul. If you get the 1 and the 3-star, you'll have a 1-star and a 3-star soul for them if you end up with a duplicate for some reason. So in case you pull them this weekend and you were planning on fusing them anyway, well, double souls could be good for running 2 Tholins for some reason. Don't count it out. It could be very good for some content, and sometimes it's actually nice to have a duplicate of a really good champion. And to be fair, you stick them in your Faction Guardians, and you got a Faction Guardian for a while too. So not a bad option for you. As well as on the 4-star, and of course I'm blocking it right now, but the Gilded Pinion that we have right here is the 1,000 point one reward. This is actually a pretty good relic. And of course you can get up to the 5-star soul. So you'll get 1,500 points for the 5-star soul. If you don't go for the 5-star soul, you only need about 1,000 points to get this one, or 600 points for this one. There are 1,750 points available. So if you want this 5-star soul, you can only miss 250 points. Keep in mind, there is going to be a summon rush of some kind, or some kind of event, maybe a path event or something like that. But basically the equivalent of a summon rush is going to happen next weekend, because this event is going on for more than 2 weeks. So you're going to have a summon rush, and you're going to have another champ chase, probably on 2x Voids, because that's kind of what's due, because we've had the 2x Sacred somewhat recently, and we're having 2x Ancients now, so it'll be 2x Voids, and it's not going to be 2x Primals, because we just did that recently too. So save up your Voids for that event. Honestly, you should be saving up your Voids for a 2x Void event anyway. But do keep in mind, you're going to need to hit probably 2 of those 3 summon events, if not all 3 of them, if you want to skip other events like other Dungeon Divers, because Dungeon Divers suck. Dungeon Divers are a huge, huge energy sink, and often prevent you from doing other things you might want. But other things to note here, you've got the rank 3 Basalt. That could be very valuable, especially on early accounts. So getting this 1100 points could be very good. Primal Shards never suck. Legendary books, never suck. Even this relic right here, the Gilded Pinion, if you don't want to use it, it can be another 3-star Basalt. But I want to go in here and talk about Gilded Pinion here. This part, the wearer receives 1 less % damage for each turn of cooldown on all of their skills. And this can raise more. So if you get this level 3, it's 1.5%. Doesn't sound like a lot, but think of it this way. If I've got a champion with 2 3-turn cooldown skills, and I use one of them, and then I use the other one, that's 5 turns of cooldown. Well, 5 times 1.5 gets me to a 7.5% damage reduction. That is not insignificant. Better yet, what happens if I get locked out? Well, somebody gets locked out, suddenly they have all of their skills on max cooldown possibly, or at least a 3-turn cooldown. That is possibly, again, 9% cooldown on 2 3-turn cooldowns. Look at an Arbiter, for example. Arbiter's got 3 skills, one of which is on a 5-turn cooldown. Arbiter could have as many as 10, so you could get 15%, maybe even a 20% damage reduction on your Arbiter when the skills are not on cooldown. That's actually pretty huge, and honestly, any damage reduction is better than nothing. So, like for this account here, I could actually see putting this on one of my my clan boss champions, because I know which clan boss champion tends to take the stun. So, hey, if I can reduce the damage of that by 3, 4, 5%, well, that can give me at least 1 extra turn, possibly, maybe more, because I won't be worn down quite as badly, keeping everyone else alive. Or I can keep somebody more important alive because they're more important to the team overall because of the way the cooldowns work. There's all kinds of cool things I could do with that. On top of that, it is an HP and speed relic. So you need a speed champion? Well, even at level 3, it might be 6 points of speed, maybe even 4 points of speed. It's not huge, but it's extra speed, and extra speed on champions is absolutely amazing. So I'm not going to say that this is going to be a game changer for every account. I'm saying that this is a relic that I think is more powerful than you might think it is. And I think if you can get that 1,000 points, which to be fair, you can miss almost half of the points of the event. So you can miss, maybe, about 40% of the points, give or take. You can get this relic. So keeping that in mind, I would aim for at least 1,000 points if you could, even if you're not doing anything with Tholen. If you are doing anything with Tholen and you really want the points and you really want that 5-star soul, then make sure you're planning on pulling shards for at least 2 of these next 3 events so that you can get, not get messed out and not miss out on as many of those things as possible. So let's go take a look at the champion chase right here. All right, so it doesn't really want to load up for some reason. That's fine. So we do have the soul for Gracchos here. I believe you need to have at least 5,000 points for that. Doesn't tell me that somewhere? Maybe it doesn't. And somebody's already got it, so it doesn't matter. So as long as you have at least 5,000 points, you can get a 5-star Gracchos soul. If you don't have a Gracchos, that's obviously less exciting. I don't have a Gracchos on either of my accounts. I would actually love one on this account. I think he would actually make a good game-changing legendary on this account. On my main, I'd like him because he's new, so I'm not going to complain if I get a chance to get him. It is 5,500 points here for the 130 points here, and you can get at least 70 from this event. So if you're going to at least go this far, you've got a good chance of getting at least the 70 here. And if you're pulling a ton of shards, like this account's going to be pulling a ton of shards and summoning a bunch of other stuff, I actually have a chance to get this soul coin right here. And I think that's going to be absolutely amazing. We'll see. I've got a bunch of tricks up my sleeve to earn some points on this account. So let's go talk about it. I do have a Pepsi ready to go. So let's go talk about summoning. So first of all, as I talked about in some videos here, I've got a Mithrala here ready to go. We're going to pull her. That is 600 points right off the rip. Yay, legendary. We know it. 650. I was wrong. That was even better. So Mithrala is absolutely amazing. You probably know her kit, but if you don't, you get poisons on the A1, 100% chance when booked. It is 2 poisons. One is on a random target. One is on the target you attack. You get attacks all enemies, puts hex on them, increased defense and increased accuracy on your team. Very good skill, and we'll talk about why that hex is even better later on. You've got the strengthen and the shield with a cleanse. The shield is pretty tanky. Strengthen is great. These These are two things that help keep you alive on a 3-turn cooldown. She's a very survivable champion that adds a lot of survivability to your team. The other reason she adds survivability to your team is because anyone who has Hex has a 50% chance of getting petrified if they attack. So what can happen is she can be a control where if the enemy team attacks when they're under Hex, they will petrify themselves, which means they will lose any buffs that they have on them, and they will lose a turn. Now, they have some damage reduction for being petrified, but they effectively lose a full turn and all buffs and are unable to be healed or buffed while they're petrified, and that is absolutely huge. The other thing that Mithrala does as a passive is she increases her resistance by the amount of accuracy that she has. So she tends to resist things because you build her with accuracy because she lands a bunch of debuffs anyway. So she offers an awful lot of control. She offers an awful lot of tankability and survivability. She brings a good amount of damage, and she brings a cleanse. She is going to be amazing for this account. She is possibly one of the best champions on this account right now, and that's huge. She's going to help me in Faction Wars, and I think she's going to help me in Hydra and a lot of other areas of the game. The other champion we are going to be grabbing is Quintus. Quintus, the live arena champion. Again, I bragged about him a little bit, just proud of it, whatever else. Got him at day 150. So do your live arena. You can actually make it pretty far in live arena if you just spend a little time working on it and focusing on it. It is a time sink, so if you don't have the time, kind of let it go naturally. Do a couple of wins here or there. When you can do those 5 wins a day, that's a lot of good gear on top of everything else. So the rewards are pretty good for that. Anyway, Quintus has got a attack enemy extra hit if the target has no buffs. If the attack is critical, repeats this attack once, which means he can do a 4-hitter on this A1 if the target has no buffs. That's really, really good. A2 here, attacks one enemy, removes all buffs, and then places a 60% decreased defense on the target for the turn. Before attacking, these effects cannot be resisted or blocked. So he removes all buffs from the target. It doesn't, just to be clear. So he does cleanse the buffs before his A1 happen and put decreased defense. Very good. This can actually hit really, really hard. Damage inflicted by the skill cannot be decreased by enemy passive skills or masteries except passives for skills of bosses. Damage inflicted by the skill cannot be increased by either this champion's masteries or passive skills except when attacking bosses. So this doesn't gain bonuses from some of the masteries that you can put on him that just do regular damage. Stat boosts, so things like ignore defense still count. So Helm Smasher is definitely the way to go for masteries on Quintus, but also things like your crit rate and your crit damage will certainly help as well. But other things that will build up like kill streak, that does not improve the damage on this one as well. But again, you also ignore a bunch of this stuff. This means that this skill can one-shot Rhodos, however, because that's important. So it is definitely good to know that is a good use for this skill. That's actually going to be very helpful on this particular count. And if he kills somebody, he resets his crowd favorite, which is his AoE. And his AoE puts increased attack and increased crit damage on him for 3 turns before attacking. And it resets the strip away skill if he kills an enemy. So this skill resets this skill. This skill resets this skill. Does a ton of damage. This is not the most damaging AoE, but it's a good AoE. Unfortunately, it does not ignore any of the skills you want to ignore in arena. So while he's good in arena, he is not great in arena. And then finally, each of the champion skills deals additional pure damage. And this is where he gets kind of nuts. Pure damage is equal to 10% of the target's max HP for each buff on them. In addition, the pure damage dealt will ignore shields. So if there's a heavy buff team on the team, he can basically still do a ton of damage to your enemy because, that could be 50% of the max HP if they've got 5 buffs on them, which means that somebody has 5 buffs in PvP isn't necessarily safe from him, even if they can ignore some of the damage or might be unkillable or anything else like that. Ignoring shields as well, very, very powerful. And this can be good against bosses. This can do a ton of really nice things. So yeah, he does a ton of damage. He hits really hard. And on this account, he's probably the best nuker that I'm going to have. So I have already got 1,300 points actually. 1,300 points. So I've already got 1,300 points here on the champion chase without having actually pulled a single shard, which is absolutely amazing. Yep, 1,300. Are you looking for one of the best ways to start a brand new raid account either just a second one to play, different challenge or something like that, or you're just looking for a brand new one to share raid with your friends or family or anyone else, or maybe you just thought raid was actually an amazing game and want to give it a try, well, use my link down below. Get yourself a free legendary Elenarl, an amazing poisoner and burner, brings a ton of damage, brings a ton of utility, will help your account a ton. And once you get out of the tutorial, you'll get her. At level 15 of the account, you will get yourself a Thane, who is an amazing clan boss damage dealer and brings a ton of other debuffs as well as an epic. And finally, at level 30, get yourself a Mausoleum Mage, an amazing supporter who has heals and cleanses and buffs and will bring all kinds of extra cool things to your team. All you need to do is use the link down below. If you're downloading this on an Android or iOS device, just make sure it's a device that has never played Raid before. Download the link and you should be good to go. Just make a new account and you are all set. If you're doing this on PC, all you need to do is you can either uninstall or log out of every account on your Polarium Play, then create a new account online with the link using a brand new email, download and run the installation. It will put your account on your system automatically, and boom, there you go. Finish the tutorial, there's your Elenarl, have fun playing Raid Shadow Legends. It's an awesome way to start. It helps support me, it helps support the community, and it's a great way to get into a great game. But we've got some shards to pull as well. So I actually have a Prism Shard. I earned that through the Dungeon Divers event. I decided to focus on this because this is a 6% chance to get any legendary here. All of these legendaries would be new. All of them would be absolutely amazing. Most of these epics are absolutely amazing. There's a couple of them I have already. I don't really want a fur gun. Or fire gun, I should say. Because I've got one already. I've got 2 Geomancers. I don't need a third. I've got a Thylesia. I don't really need a second. And I've got a Phoenix. I don't necessarily need a second. But again, they're faction guardians in that case here. For the most part, everybody else here, very solid or is a Mikage epic. So let's crack open the Pepsi. Not a sponsor, but Pepsi, you could be. Think of all the money I could make from your sponsorship. And honestly, think of all the fun you could bring to Raid with Pepsi. So let's get something cool. Let's see what we get. And that is Lochwain. Now, Lochwain's not bad. I actually don't remember what he does off the top of my head. Chance of stealing a random buff, attacks all enemies, chance of removing Veil or Perfect Veil, not too bad. 70% chance of removing random buff from all enemies as well. That could be okay. Attacks one enemy 2 times, ignore shields, reset the cooldown skill if it kills an enemy, and finally increases accuracy by 10% for each buff on the enemy. And speed and arena, not exciting. Not a champion I plan to invest much in, but I now have 25% of the Mikage fusion done. So that was a worthwhile pull. That was actually really good. I don't know if I would have rather gotten him or some of these guys here, because obviously I'll still be able to fuse him at some point in time. But, I'll fuse him at some point in time, and then having used these rares to fuse him, I'll have 2 of them. I'll still keep one of them when I, manage to fuse Mikage, and until then I'll have some faction guardians for my Sylvan Watchers. So overall, not too bad. Meanwhile, we are looking for any of these for the fusion here. I'm certainly looking for any of the Rosin fusion, because Rosin would be very helpful on this account as well. And finally, I would not mind another one of these epics on for the Tholan fusion. I will certainly still fake this. I've got 9 of these guys. I've got 3 of them 100% ready. I've got 4 of them not 100% ready. And then these 2 guys here are close. So and I'll get a couple of these extra points too, because I'm really going to fuse as many of these as possible while this event is going on, just to get as many points as I can. But that's not why you're here. You guys are here for the Ancient Shard pulls. I have room for 73, and I am going to pull all 73, because as I mentioned, this is going to be a pivotal time for this account. And I realize I've done an awful lot of talking, and I've not done an awful lot of shard pulling, but I felt this stuff was kind of important. So I appreciate you guys hanging around. Let me know what you think of some of these Titan events beforehand, though. Let me know what you're getting for some of these shard pulls. I really do appreciate you guys. You guys are absolutely amazing, and I'm not editing the video. I am actually going to go pull some shards. So come on, Pepsi, come on, Polarium. Let's get some really cool stuff on this account. Master Butcher is awesome. I've got at least one of him already. Very good for Bommel early on. Very useful in Faction Wars early on. Valerie Valerie's pretty solid. She can extend buffs. She's got some healing. I've used her on Bannerlords for Faction Wars in solutions for it because, sometimes you're just struggling for healing. Maiden, not particularly exciting as well. All right, we're going to move to 10 pulls. We're not going to talk about every rare that comes up. We are going to get some amazing champions. So come on, Pepsi. Let's bring the heat. There's an epic that is a Jotun, not particularly exciting. Rearguard Sergeant, I don't remember if I've got a Rearguard Sergeant or not. Rearguard Sergeant is a clan boss champion. She's not bad. I think I do have one of her, and I think I got her after I got Tyrant. She's got a decreased defense on the A1. She's got a decreased attack on the A2. Good for clan boss. And then she's got an ally protection and continuous heals. Solid clan boss champion if you need one for early clan boss. I already have a Taragi who does a better job of bringing some damage, and I've got a Tyrant who brings the increased defense. So I don't have a reason to really build up a rearguard sergeant. Maybe to free up my Tyrant for some other stuff, maybe because the extra increased healing, but then I would lose increased defense, which honestly helps quite a bit as well. So probably not somebody I need to build, and I think it's a duplicate as well. Jotun, just not great. I'm not going to even talk about that dude. He can bring some burns very, very early. Ator, not exciting. Urticata, that could be interesting. I'll actually look at her. Venomage, yes, Venomage is awesome. So Ator, not particularly exciting. Urticata is an interesting clan boss option. She's got the speed aura, she's got the hex, and then everybody that crits puts poisons up with the hex. This could actually bring a lot of damage to the clan boss. You got to worry about it filling up the debuff bar, but because of that, she could be interesting for clan boss, but that's really the only place that she's good at. Venomage is going to be transformative. Venomage is now the best lizardman on this account. Venomage is the type of epic I said I needed to round out my account. What does Venomage do? Well, Venomage gives you a chance to ignite some poisons on the A1, and she destroys target max HP if they're under heal reduction as well. Puts up a decreased defense and decreased attack on the A2. Puts up a heal reduction and poison, and 2 poisons actually on the A3 here. This is an AoE. This is a good way to do some damage. And then that heal reduction actually is also helpful because for the passive, you inflict 15% less damage if you're under a heal reduction. So she's actually a good champion to throw in a clan boss team. She is a good champion to have for waves. She can solo a lot of content in the game, partially because she can make herself fairly tanky with this. And I say she because I think the animations kind of show that she's a she, but it's really kind of hard to tell because it's a lizard. And no lizard boobies, so, which is fine. So let's keep pulling, but honestly, if I get nothing better than Venomage, I am super stoked. Venomage is actually really good for the Nether Spider as well, because that heal reduction combined with Geomancer, who I already have built out, is one of the easiest ways to solve that boss. Now I just need some cleansing, but hey, I've got a Mithrala now. So I've got Mithrala for cleansing, and I just need some healers to keep everyone else alive, and we're in great shape against that boss. So, all right, already an amazing 10 pull. Let's get some cool stuff. There's another epic, Crimson Helm. You can do some weird stuff with Crimson Helm. Jingle Hunter, not particularly exciting. Both of them are new, at least. I like my Avir as well. Crimson Helm can be used because of the block damage right here. You can use Crimson Helm to solo Bommel. It is a manual run, however, and it is very painful. You're better off just building Lady Annabelle, but Crimson Helm's got some use as well. She's certainly annoying in the Faction War waves. Not the worst champion, brings ally protection as well. Probably not somebody I'm going to need to build on this account right now, but it's not somebody that I wouldn't mind having on the account because I could see uses for them for some other content later on in the game. All right, not as good a 10 pull as that first one, but you know what? They can't all be bangers. Dark Aethel, I've already got 1 or 2 of them. Vildrax, one of the first epics with Hex, not particularly exciting. A second or maybe third Seneschal. Hey, we are on point with 2 or 3 epics every time. This is absolutely amazing. And I would really love to max out this event. And if I can get that soul and maybe get Gracchus as well, that's great. If I can't get Gracchus, maybe that soul becomes food for some other stuff. Who knows? Lady Atessa, not particularly exciting. Yeah, again, they can't all be bangers. Come on, Pepsi. Let's see some gold. Scaramus, I love Scaramus, but I've already got one. Scabrius, not super. Hutatsu, yes! Love me a Hutatsu. He's going to be super helpful for the Shadowkin. Hutatsu is immune to, will remove a random debuff in this champion at the start of each turn, will prioritize control stuff. So he's actually very good against the boss because he can't get locked out. Brings some increased defense and continuous heal, so it gives you some healing on your team. Unfortunately, continuous heals are both a blessing and a curse. They're a blessing because they keep your team topped up. They're a curse because they're not immediate heals. So sometimes if somebody is about ready to die, putting a continuous heal on them doesn't actually help them before they die. Also has the decrease attack here. Unfortunately, he does need to read a little bit on this skill as well. It's not too bad over here. And he's got a leech on the A1, not horrible. Not a great A1. He can do okay-ish damage, but honestly, you build him for super tankiness. And he's got a good aura as well. So this is a usable aura for faction wars because this will keep everyone alive just a little bit longer. Hotatsu is definitely going to help my Shadowkin team. So that's good. I could use some Shadowkin. This is then again another type of epic where it's rounding out the account. So, all right, come on. Time to see gold. Let's get something cool. Come on. Aw, man. And apparently that's how we're going to go out. So we are going to go out on a rare tax. Very unfortunate. But hey, I got a couple of account changing epics, which is absolutely amazing. We are done with this. How did we do in this shard pull event? We did not quite make ourselves up to that top legendary book, which is fine. But I did get the Titan points, which is going to be absolutely key here as well. That's going to be an extra 50 points as well because he is a void rare. Get a bunch of extra cool stuff as well. So, hey, that is absolutely exciting for me. I am absolutely stoked to get some of these champions. In fact, one of the things I do actually want to do is I've got 12 soul stones here, and we are going to pull some soul stones. So, I don't need them for you. I definitely want one for Quintus, and I definitely want one for Mithrala. So, I was holding off on these because I really couldn't actually get souls for them until I actually had them because that's the way those champions work. If we look here, I would really like a Venomage soul as well. That would be absolutely amazing. So we do one for Venomage, do one for... Still want Whisper Soul. I think that's really good. And Rector, I think I still don't have one, so that's fine. So that will be helpful as well. We'll, bonus little extra pulling session. I'm not going to pull this Immortal. I want to save this stuff, but we're going to pull these 12 here because I think this, this is a good time to pull them as well. So maybe save up if you don't, ooh, there's a legendary. Yes. That's why I waited, and that's awesome. That is absolutely amazing. Yes, it's only a 1-star soul, but I can tell you having a soul on a champion, especially in arena, is huge. So, that will be huge to get a damage dealer with a soul. Got yourself a 4-star Gator soul, not particularly exciting. And we got the final 10 pull right here. Let's get some cool stuff. There's another legendary that, 2-star Syl. That is going to be awesome when I get Syl, which is happening soon. Creodin, I think I've already got a 1-star soul on him. 5-star Marquess and a 2-star Godseeker. So, hey, I've got some cool stuff. Godseeker is going to be amazing when I get her, because hopefully I'll get her at some point in time, because she's amazing. I do actually like Marquess, and I believe mine is already 5 stars, so that's going to be pretty helpful. For my demon spawn, because I'm using her for some damage. Yeah, good pulls. So, hey, my account has been kind of transformed. I've got some really cool stuff, and it is going to be fun building up some of these champions. So I appreciate you guys hanging around for the ride. It has been absolutely amazing. It's fun pulling shards. It is fun pulling shards of folk. And you know what? I didn't get a legendary from my ancients, and I still got some really good champions that I am excited to build on this account. And honestly, the fact that I didn't get anybody that is a legendary from ancients doesn't bother me too much because, first of all, I now know that my Mercy is actually pretty far in, so, you know, that's certainly good to know. But also, it means that I don't have to fight with some of the other champions that I know I'm going to be building as far as Legendary is concerned. I'm going to have Tholen to build particularly soon. I'm going to have Mithrala to build. I'm going to have Quintus to build. And I've got Syl coming up soon as well. And I've only got so many Legendary books. And Mithrala is probably going to be the one I'm going to book because Mithrala is just so good. But you know what? I've got a bunch of champions to build, so we'll certainly see how the account plays out. So hit that like button, hit that subscribe button. Again, let me know if you got anything absolutely amazing. Let me know what you think of some of my polls. And again, let me know what you think of some of these Titan events things too. I know some people are angry over the fact that they didn't warn us about this ahead of time, but that's generally how Polarium tends to operate. And I guess a lot of content creators kind of told you ahead of time. I know I told you that there was expecting to be a Titan event because it made sense with the way that this Chaos Awakens event thing works. So hopefully you can get everything that you dream of, and hopefully you get some amazing stuff on this weekend. And until the next video, I am Bront CatHerder.